Hello everyone, this is Goosebumps Godzilla, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the second Goosebumps Most Wanted Special Edition, The 12 Screams of Christmas. And so, yeah, let's get into the video. So, as you can tell, I don't usually do reviews, but since there are very little Christmas Goosebumps books, I'm going to try to do reviews on some of the Christmas Goosebumps books, because you can't really make that many Christmas theories for the Christmas Goosebumps books. Anyway, that's a confusing sentence. Anyway, so, yeah, I'm going to be reviewing The 12 Screams of Christmas. So I actually got this book yesterday, and overall, I actually really enjoyed this book. There's a few parts that I'll talk about later that I didn't really like, but overall, really, really good book. So, first, let's talk about the cover art for the book. And so, yeah, the cover art I actually really enjoy. I like how the ghost is wrapped up in green Christmas lights, and I love the haunted house with the lights in the background. I like that snowman in the right-hand corner. And the only thing I would say that I don't really like about this cover art is the hat, the Santa hat. It just kind of makes it a little more goofy than it should. But this is one of Brandon Dorman's best cover arts, in my opinion. But anyway, let's get to the actual book. So, the beginning of the book takes place in 1882, and this is sort of the first part of the book. And that part was fine. So, it turns out that these kids, they live in 1882 and moved into this new house. And it's basically the main protagonist, I think his name's Abe, and his twin brother, just exploring the neighborhood, and it kind of gets boring a bit. It's okay. It's an okay part of the book. But then the ending to this first part of the book is very dark and very realistic, and it kind of scared me a bit. That really freaked me out, though. And I really enjoyed that first part. But anyway, let's get to the second part of the book. And so the second part takes place in the present day. And so I loved this part as well. It wasn't as good as the first part. I mean, the thing that made the first part of the book was that truly horrifying ending involving a girl and a well. But the second part was fine. It introduced us to a new main protagonist instead of the one from 1882, obviously. And this one is very different from every other Goosebumps protagonist in the Goosebumps franchise. Very different indeed. This is sort of like Werewolf in the Living Room, if you know what I'm talking about. That one had a very, very different main protagonist, and this one did as well, and I really enjoyed that about this book, how it had sort of a different kind of main protagonist instead of just a normal kid who goes to school, and, you know, it's very, very different. But anyway, so turns out that the main protagonist is trying to get a role in the school's Christmas play, The 12 Screams of Christmas. And so the first part of the book kind of feels like the Phantom of the Auditorium, and also the first part of the book mainly takes place in an auditorium. And it kind of gets boring at times, but there's this dream sequence that makes up for everything. I love that dream sequence. But overall, the next part to this book, it's fine. The beginning of the first part was really interesting, and the end of the second part was really interesting, but the middle was just, it was fine, it was okay, it was entertaining, but it was just a little uninteresting to the reader until they get to that final part of the thing. But then, and also, I just want to add, the second part to this book does not really feel like a Christmas Goosebumps book. And so the first part of this book really didn't feel like a Christmas Goosebumps book either. They sort of referenced it, but that's it. And it's the same for the second part. They really just say the 12 Screams of Christmas, say that it's winter, and that's really all the Christmas you get. But the next part actually does dive more into this Christmas atmosphere. And so, anyway, the second part starts out with the teacher who's running the play, like Mr. Piccolo, they call him Mr. P, I don't know his real name. But anyway, he's taking the kids to some haunted house, and So basically it's a haunted house, and he wants them to rehearse there because it turns out 12 Screams of Christmas is a horror play, and you want to get the atmosphere right to make the perfect play when it is time to do the play, I guess, whenever they make the production for the play. So all the kids go to this haunted house, and it turns out this is the same house that the main protagonist in the first part during 1882 lived in. And so, yeah, it was pretty interesting. The atmosphere was really nice. They still didn't really mention Christmas in the beginning part. I mean, they definitely reference it, but it's not really a part of the story. And so, one thing leads to another. The main protagonist encounters the well, almost falls in. And so they learn about the story of the girl who fell in the... I'm so sorry, I did not... You didn't hear anything that I just said. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna spoil the book. But, so yeah, they're just interacting in the haunted house, and it was fine. It was okay. I found it entertaining and stuff like that, but I don't know, maybe you don't. That's all I'm gonna say about this book, is that they're gonna interact in the haunted house, because it's the biggest part of the book, and so that's all I'm gonna say about this book. But I really enjoyed the whole haunted house area, just how they utilized it and how they utilized it in 1882, and it was okay. Overall, I really enjoyed this third part, but I'm really just in like the first part of the last part, or the third part. So let's continue on with the review. So anyway, one thing leads to another, all this stuff happens, and we get to the scene with the ghosts, and it's like the main scary moment. And that one is super, super, super fun. I love that part. That part was awesome. Just the whole scene. And they utilized Christmas perfectly, I feel like. And there's just one scene in this book involving Santa Claus. That was awesome. I love that part. I love this Christmas dinner scene in the book. It reminded me so much of the Say Cheese and Die Again cover art. I love that. I really enjoyed the whole... When they did utilize Christmas in this book, it was very, very, very awesome. Because it was only in the main finale where the main protagonist actually interacts with the ghost that they utilized Christmas. But when they did, it was so awesome. I want Stein to write more Christmas books, because they're just all about Christmas and horror. Because when they did talk about Christmas, it was really interesting, and they utilized it in the story. And that whole Christmas party scene with the ghosts in it, that was awesome. And so yeah, the book ends with that awesome epic scene. Well, it doesn't end with that awesome epic scene, but it honestly has a pretty good finale. And so in the book, the main protagonist hates this one character, and so who's really mean to the main protagonist, and she kind of gets paid back for her evilness in the book. I don't know if that's good wording, but it had an awesome finale to it, and the twist was super fun. I loved the twist. But overall, I would have to give this book maybe a 4.2 out of 5 stars, because I really loved the parts that were interesting, the parts that had Christmas in it, and all this stuff, but most of the book kind of was just okay. It was just okay, and it just kind of went with the story, but the party scene with the ghosts, and it's Christmas, and the first part with the scene involving the well, just made the book so much better, and it was so good. And that's the parts that I really recommend to it. Just have to read some okay parts, but each part to this book has a really awesome scene that makes up for everything. So yeah, I really recommend this book, guys. It's really good. But anyway, if you have read the book, tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. Do you think it's an awesome book? Do you think it's a horrible book? Tell me what you think. Well, anyway, that's the end of my video, and I hope you enjoyed my review for the 12 Screams of Christmas. And also, have a Merry Christmas.